Rick, thank you for joining me once again on the podcast. This is your second time. What an achievement that must be.
It's incredible. I can't quite believe it. Thanks very much for having me on again. I must have done something all right last time, Baker. Why Baker anyway?
What do you mean? What?
Well, that's your first name.
Yeah.
So why Baker? It's a good name. I like it, but it's unusual to have that as your first name.
Oh, good question. But unfortunately, it's not mine to answer because I was obviously just a little baby when that was decided. But I can pass the contact details of my mum and dad if you'd love to find out.
Quite clearly, you didn't name yourself, but have you asked your parents why? You must know. How old are you now?
I'm 16, but I think it was a joint decision. But my mum seen another name of another baby she liked, and she thought, "Oh, that can be the name of ours."
Right. Okay. So she's nicked it from another baker.
Yeah. I don't know if that other baker knows, but
right. Well, it's out there now, isn't it?
Yeah.
The baker's listening in. Get in touch with Mr. Lilyvick and see what bites.
But we don't know about copyright, but hopefully they don't put any claims in.
I don't think you can copyright your name.
Yeah. Just to be on the safe side.
So, do you have any brothers or sisters, Baker?
Yes, I have one brother whose name is Bailey.
Right. I was going to ask, is he called Candlestick Maker? But no, he's called Bailey.
We should have though, and then. But it's bad enough because they get mixed up as it is. Because he's obviously followed the same schools as me. Teachers have got mixed up. Sometimes our own parents even get mixed up. My
goodness me. Come on, sort it out, the Lilyvicks. Anyway, on to some questions. I've asked you the questions. Now it's your turn.
It's two a time. Right. So the last time you came on, as we've mentioned, you've been on before. You said how you were itching to go and do a gig again. How did it feel to get back on the road in November and December 2021?
It was great. It was necessary. It was needed. And it worked really well. I think the first gig we did back proper was the Halifax Peace Hall last September, I think it was. And that was a little bit weird because we'd not played in front of an audience, or certainly an audience of that size, for quite a long time due to lockdowns. So I was a bit kind of, how's this going to go down? But it was brilliant. It only took a couple of songs and then it just felt really normal and good. So because we'd done that, it was just a case of making sure we were match fit for this big tour. Because obviously doing like a big outdoor hour-long show, you know, the set kind of speaks for itself, really. We've got quite a few songs that we can't really not play.
Yeah.
We'd be told off if we didn't play On Standby, or if we didn't play Going for Gold, didn't play Chasing Rainbows. So an hour-long set is kind of an easy one for us. But then if you're going on a tour and you're playing for an hour 40, you know, it's important to kind of pick and choose some songs that a bit of a surprise for your hardcore fans who come a lot, as well as obviously playing a lot of the hits. So it was a good build up to it. I mean, obviously we had to teach two new guys the set, which kind of, we only had like 10 weeks to do that. So that was kind of dropped on us really. But it kind of, it gave us a bit of a kick up the arse, to be honest. You know, it kind of made it feel quite fresh. So yeah, it was good. It was good fun. It was hard work, but it was good fun. I mean, as the basic story of that 5-week tour was just kind of, you know, we're not getting any younger. I'm nearly 50. So it's kind of, it's work in the respect of putting on a good show and doing all of them hit swivels and stuff. Which is still highly enjoyable to do, but obviously the older we get, it takes it out of you a little bit more. It's like doing a massive hour-and-a-half gym session every night. But that, along with kind of looking over our shoulder every day because of the looming COVID business, made it a little bit more tiring and a bit more like work and a bit more stressful. But as far as the actual gigs went, I guess people really enjoyed it. The people who care about it really came and enjoyed it, and we certainly did. So long may that continue.
Because I imagine, like, because at that time with the tour, like, obviously you got through the November gigs, but then as you got to mid-December, the Omicron variant sprung up, and like that was causing panic amongst people. People said they weren't coming. I think that must have been very hard as a band to tour in them circumstances.
Yeah, it was. It put a lot of stress on it, to be honest. I mean, everyone's got the right to do what they want to do, but we were included in that. Everyone, you know, I mean, we were getting a bit of pressure to cancel gigs, but we weren't breaking any laws. You know, I mean, we were almost being accused of putting people's lives at risk, but obviously we weren't doing that. You know, I mean, we had to postpone 5 gigs because of COVID, but we just felt that it was safe enough to go out and do the last week. And yeah, as you say, some people didn't turn up, and that's fair enough. You know, I mean, fingers crossed, we're kind of getting to the point where we're drawing a line under all this now, and hopefully life will start to get back to normal. I mean, I got COVID at the beginning of this new year, and fortunately and luckily for me, it was like a bad cold, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what to say. I mean, people have got every right to do what they want to do, but it did kind of make the last week a little bit more of a weird scenario, but people still came, and the people who came seemed to really love it. Yeah. So, you know, it's very divisive what's happened over the last couple of years. It's really divisive. And I don't really want to start getting bogged down in arguing points with people. Yeah. It's boring.
Because you obviously get your usual people on social media that will just have a go at the band and have a go at you, but probably wouldn't say it if it was right in front of yours.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, two members left late last year, and it was through their own choice and through their own beliefs, and that's fair enough. You can't stand in anyone's way. Not falling out in any way with them, you know, it's a life call. But it is quite frustrating, as you say, when you get your keyboard warriors coming on without knowing the facts. And some person actually in October was that cross that they actually messaged us saying that when we play in Oxford on the tour, that they'll quite happily meet us in a car park and settle it out properly, because we'd chucked 2 members out because they didn't want to get jabbed. But that is so far from the truth. It's ridiculous and laughable. You know, they left off their own free will, and they weren't told they've got to go. We would have preferred it if they'd stayed. So for that particular person who offered us out in an Oxford car park, get your facts straight.
And it's just stupid, really, because if people don't want to go to the gig, just don't attend instead of like just having to go on social media. It is ridiculous.
Yeah, well, as I say, it's people's life choices, isn't it? You've just got to put on, you know. I mean, we're already looking forward. We're looking to the festivals in the summer. We're going to start writing some new songs. So, you know, you've just got to move on like everybody does. Anyway, you came to one of our gigs, didn't you?
Yes, and I've got proof of that here. I've got now framed the set list from the gig.
So how did you manage to get that?
So, because basically the story, how we ended up so close was Disco Down, when the crowd went mad, because basically we were I'd say about 10 rows from the front. Then by the time that song had finished, we were actually at the front.
Right.
And then at the end of the gig, like, do you know, like when the roadies are tidying the stage up, they give like the set lists into the crowd and stuff. One of your roadies, thanks to him, passed the set list down to me, which I was really chuffed about.
What did the roadie look like, so I can find out which one it was, giving away my personal property?
Oh, the thing is, the one thing is masks. You can't tell because of a mask.
Yes, right, okay. Well got out of that, Baker. Very well done. Very well done. So yes, you set list then. So what did you think of that set?
I thought it was brilliant, and obviously, like you said, you've got such a big back catalogue, which says it all.
This is why I ask, because it's, you know, we've got to kind of try and please everybody in respects. Yes, we understand the man on the street who knows Chasing Rainbows and maybe knows Disco Down and doesn't particularly listen to us a lot through the year, but likes to come and see us play live. There'll be a few people like that, and that's great. So we've got to please those.
Yeah.
And we've also got to please the people who come to 5 gigs on a 20-day tour, you know. So that's why with that particular set, it was great reintroducing the heroes, because we've not played
that was brilliant.
Yeah, we've not played that since probably 1999 as a full band. So it was really nice for us to play it as well. And we chose to put it at the end of the main set because it is such a kind of anthemic big thing, you know. And the fact that I go really high singing it at the end, it's thank you and good night. Before, of course, we come back on and do your disco down in Chasing Rainbows. So it's kind of a good strong end to the set, without trying to give too much away to the people who are going to come and see us for these 5 postponed gigs that we're doing at the end of March that we didn't manage to get to do in December, without giving too much away. But basically, I've just said, I don't know what we're doing.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were going to give something else away to them there.
Oh, no. Do the same set. It's only fair for the people out, you know.
I mean, I thought it was a brilliant set, and I liked the few changes as well, because as you say, the big back catalogue, it was great to hear stuff like Victoria, which is of instant pleasure, obviously. And with Speakeasy and Where Have You Been Tonight, like, it was a good moment for like you, Tom and Paul in the middle of the stage and the famous runway. And,
the runway that didn't exist, yes.
It was great to hear them acoustically and in like sort of like a different manner, which was really good.
Yeah, well, that's why we're always thinking of ways in which to just make things slightly different, especially with the older songs that we've played for like nearly 25, 26 years, you know, every tour. So Where Have You Been Tonight was really nice to do that in a different way. And as you say, with the nature of the fact that the core 3 members of the band now are me, Tom and Paul, it was nice just to kind of feature us, because I don't know whether at the gig that we did where you saw us, I was saying on stage before doing that little acoustic bit about the fact that we all met when we were 11 at school. You know, it's like a lot of people probably don't even know that. So it's nice for people to see the 3 of us stood together at the front, playing something that we've played over and over again. And it just freshens it up a little bit for us too.
Yeah, it was certainly a very good moment in the set. And later on, another highlight for me was the cover of Elvis Presley's Suspicious Minds, After Going for Gold. Could you talk me a little bit through why you chose to cover that song? Because I know there is a guitar riff that is really similar in both songs.
Yeah, well, when we first wrote that, we were kind of asked if we'd kind of half-inched that main riff, but I genuinely don't think we had way back when. There's also actually a remix of a Primal Scream song of Screamadelica. Kiss me, what's you gonna kiss me? I can't remember what the song's called, but anyway.
We've got a live concert there.
I can't remember what their song was, but there's a remix, I think, by Terry Farley, where the opening of that song, it starts with a very similar guitar kind of hook to Going for Gold. So it's something we've kind of mooted, we've kicked it around for a while, but never bothered doing it. And we just thought now's the time. And it did work really well. It was a really great thing to just suddenly stop the main Going for Gold song and start that again.
Yeah.
And people didn't know what was coming. And as soon as I started singing, "We're Caught in a Trap,"
everyone
just suddenly went, wow, they're doing that. So, you know, it worked really well and very cleverly kind of weaved back into the end of Going for Gold with all the big brass. So it worked. We like to choose less kind of obvious for us covers. You know, so we've done an awful lot of covers in the past, like your Bruce Springsteen, Born to Run. We've done the Bangles, Walk Like an Egyptian. We want
Resurrection.
Yeah, which is kind of more in keeping with our style of music.
Yeah.
Why we do like to kind of do covers that are a bit less obvious for an indie band, if you know what I mean. So, you know, we did the Bangles, Walk Like an Egyptian once. And we did, I think we played Iron Maiden's Can I Play With Madness when we were young pups. Just because it's different and people don't expect it, we like to surprise.
But it was a very good moment for the gig, and I thought it was a brilliant cover.
Yeah, it worked really well, and it's a classic. Everyone knows that song. So even if you don't know who sings it, if you're a bit younger and you don't even know who sings it, you'd know the song, really. It got everyone singing it anyway, which is great. It's almost very celebratory. I could see from the stage everyone, when they finally realise what we're doing, and it's Elvis. you know, the look of joy on so many people's faces was just, you know, why would you not do that?
Yeah, it was a great moment. As you say, it got the crowd, like, as soon as you sang them words, everyone just joined in because, like you say, they know the song. One thing at the gig that me and my dad picked up on, which was actually before you walked out on stage, the song choices we thought were very good. Bowie, Suffragette City, and Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Welcome to the Pleasure Dome. I remember what you said on Disco Down, but had you planned for them songs to be played before the gig?
Yeah, that was all part of the show. I think this time we wanted to make it more of a show rather than a gig. You know, it certainly had that kind of feel to it. I think using Frankie Goes to Hollywood, I mean, that song is actually about 13 minutes long, but we kind of edited it because there is a lot of proper drops in that particular song. So we kind of edited it to about an 8-minute version, just so that it kind of flowed a little bit better pre-gig. But the idea was, and I'm not sure how many people actually noticed this, but the idea was to play that just before we came on stage. So a 7-8 minute long version of a song, but we wanted the volume to get louder and louder. And at the same time, the lights to dim as it got louder, so that by the end of the song, it's really loud and dark, which I thought was a really clever idea. And that it builds up, you know, and it becomes more of a show. And doing the Elvis made it felt more like a show.
Yeah.
And then with the heroes at the end of the main set, it's, you know, it's just, I think the older we get, the more we just want it to be a show.
Yeah.
You mentioned age, Baker. I don't know whether it's because you're 16 and I'm nearly 50. You're annoying me.
I feel it sometimes, Vic. Don't worry. Me and my dad loved that, and we thought that it was brilliant, and we were certainly singing along to the lyrics of Welcome to the Pleasure Dome. And
you know,
I remember you had words for the only indie boy who said he wasn't bothered about that.
Yes, that was on my radio, wasn't it? He didn't even know it, which is incredible, really, because he was there.
Yeah, and he said he was more bothered about you coming out on stage than.
No, there has to be a build-up, which I thought we did well. I think maybe too many pints were consumed, Baker.
Yeah, maybe. And I'm sure Jamie will be listening to this at some point, watching when this goes up.
Well, if he is, just hold it back until at least halfway through the gig, Jamie.
Remember next time, Jamie. Looking at the tour as a whole, Rick, have you got a highlight? Because I know we spoke about some highlights, like when you brought the heroes back, covering Suspicious Minds, also stuff like Speakeasy and Where Have You Been Tonight acoustic. But have you got a highlight from that tour, or a song that you enjoyed playing the most as a whole?
Well, I think most of the things we've covered so far, the new bits that we wanted to try and make into more of a show. So yeah, the heroes was a great part of the set. I mean, even the fact that I was introducing Getting Better, which was the song before the heroes, and I was introducing that saying, thanks for coming, we'll see you again soon, this is called Getting Better. So I wasn't, you know, and then we were going straight into the heroes. So that, all very satisfying. It kind of made sense. But, you know, I mean, playing Devil in Your Shoes and just seeing everybody sing along, playing Ocean Pie and just see everybody with such joy on their faces, and then obviously Chasing Rainbows right at the end, which we'd always now have to play right at the very end of a gig. And hearing people walk out of the venue afterwards singing it still.
That certainly happened after the Leeds gig.
Yeah, it's just such a great thing, especially because it's just one of our songs and one of the songs me and Paul wrote when we were really in a very happy place. To hear people still singing it, walking down the street with joy in their hearts is just such a great buzz. So these are all massive plus points of going out and doing gigs. So as long as we keep feeling that way, then why not ever stop? You know, why stop?
Yeah. And I'm sure we'll feel that way with like the core fan base you have got. And I remember John from Reverend and the Makers even said it's great to see like even more people come into your gigs now, because like you said before as well, people are bringing their kids and like you said, the 7 and 8-year-olds in the crowd as well, which must be really refreshing for you to see as an indie band in sort of like a time where it's like, because you look at young indie bands now, it's quite hard for them to like break onto the scene with like all the mainstream stuff that's in the charts. So it must be refreshing to like see them coming to your gigs.
Yeah, it's great. I think we've just been quite lucky that our songs have stood the test of time. So obviously lots of older people are still listening to songs that we wrote way back in the 90s and still enjoying them and putting them on at home. And now they've got kids running around the house going, oh, that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
So, usually when people are bringing the kids, we're not seeing that it's under any type of sufferance. It doesn't look like the kids are there because they have to be, because mum and dad have brought me. They're all singing along. So, it works for us because they'll grow older, they'll tell their mates, and then they'll start having their own kids, and then their kids will come. And if we get to 100 years old and we're still doing it, then there'll be people who'll stand by us.
Because I know you said that Leeds gig that you used to be the same age as the Rolling Stones now, and you'll be still doing Shedcembers.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed. I mean, why not? I mean, obviously we're not stupid. We know that if we put a gig on sale and nobody bought a ticket, then we'd just stop doing it. But we're very lucky that people seem to really come and love it and have a great time. But I do use the word lucky, but at the same time, we are very aware that putting on a good show is very important. And I think that stood us good over the years, because we not only do we look like we care what we're doing, but we genuinely do care what we're doing. The worst feeling for me would be people leaving one of our gigs going, well, that was all right, wasn't it? It's that people have got to, it's got to be a big party.
And as you say, like you said to me, that's you wanted to make that Shedcember a show with like the different elements, like the cover, the acoustic songs, and like Welcome to the Pleasure Dome and everything like that. I had a good question come in from Nicola G on Twitter. Thank you for your question. Where she said she was at the Leeds Academy gig the second night, which was the same one that I was. And she said the question was, how does that compare to the big Leeds Arena show that happened on Shedcember 2019?
Well, that was the first time we'd ever headlined our own arena show. So there was a lot of pressure on us for that, because we were kind of dipping our toes into the unknown for us. And just not a huge amount of difference apart from more heads, just basically a massive, vast room. But from my memories of that, everyone again at that one just seemed to be absolutely loving it. It's just difficult to see everybody because there's just so many people. That's the only difference, really. From my memory, it was just a bit more stressful because it was the only arena show that we did on that tour, and we did about another maybe 18, 19 gigs on that tour. So the boring logistics of it meant that we had to have 3 sets, stage sets. We were playing a massive arena, so we needed one enough to fit that. But then a lot of the other venues weren't obviously as big as that, so we needed like a medium-sized set design. And then venues like the Rock City, which is a great venue, but the stage is really small and low, meant that we had to have a really small Diddy stage design as well. We were driving around 3 different kind of set designs, which was a bit frustrating because we were paying a lot of money for that for one gig. I had a great idea for that one massive Leeds arena gig. I asked our people if they could look into getting a huge glitter ball, which would just be...
This is Strictly Come Dancing live.
Well, the idea was to lower it down when Disco Down started.
Oh. So
it would be above us, but a huge glitter ball above us spinning so that when the lights hit it, it would just be crazy lights.
Yeah.
So we thought that would be a really good idea for the arena gig to make it a bit different. So the idea was to lower it just for that one song and then take it back up into the ceiling again. So because we were playing on a Saturday night, we were told that we'd have to hire it from the Friday because it would have to have been driven up from London, where the company that did these huge glitter balls are. And then they wouldn't be able to take it back till Monday because obviously there's Sunday involved. So we would have had to have paid for about 4 days for one glitterball to be lowered for one song, which lasts about 5 minutes. And it would have cost probably about £6,000 or £7,000. So we thought, let's not drop a glitterball from the sky.
It would have been a very good idea, like you say, but paying that money for 4 days when you're only going to use it once, it's maybe a little bit too.
5 minutes, yeah. So, you know, if you're ever listening to Disco Down at home, just imagine a glitter ball.
A big glitter ball coming down now.
Yeah, every time you listen to it, just look up and imagine a glitter ball above your head spinning around.
Yeah, and that will be in my head the next time I listen to Disco Down, no doubt. But finally, Rick, it's been a pleasure to have you on to chat about the tour, and obviously thanks for coming on once again. But now 2022 plans for the year. I know I'm seeing you at Cubics Festival in July up at Sunderland, and I know you've got a few other festivals planned, the rescheduled gigs, and I know you and Paul Banks are on about getting together soon to write some new songs. So what's in store for 2022?
Yeah. I've been saying that on the tour just before Christmas. I was making a point of saying thanks for coming. We'll see you again soon. Me and Paul are going to go off and start writing some new songs, so we'll play them when we next see you. And I was saying that just to make sure it was a kick up the arse to actually go and do it.
You've actually said it to the people, and now you need to go and actually,
put pressure on myself. So yes, that is the plan. We're going to start from next week. I think we're getting together and just slowly see if we can amass a set of songs. And, you know, fingers crossed, we can do what we did with Instant Pleasures. It might take us a couple of years, but if we can come up with 15, 16 good, strong ideas for songs, then we'll get them in the studio and bash them out into some type of shape. So the idea now, it all depends on if we can come up with the goods, but the idea is to spend the next few months writing, then go and do some festivals in the summer. You know, if we can get to this point next year with enough songs, then we'll maybe get ourselves into the studio and get something new next year. Fingers crossed.
With Shedcember, can I just ask, does the music come first or the lyrics? Like, have you decided on the music before, or do you go for the lyrics and then decide on the music once they're all written down and you know that they're the lyrics you want to match the song?
Well, ordinarily with us, it's very organic. Paul will come up with a set of chords or a riff, and he'll give that to me, and I'll take it away and put a melody over it, and then we'll get together. And depending on how I'm feeling and regarding writing words, sometimes it comes quite quick, and other times it can be a bit of a slog. So we'll get together as a band and bash out the basic idea of a song, and there might be just me humming a melody over the top for a long time. But then eventually I'll come up with the words. So usually it's a bit of both, to be honest. I mean, I'm always thinking of little lyrical ideas, and I'm always jotting them down in notepads. So when we first get together next week, I will get my notepad out and see what bites.
And I look forward to seeing you at Cubics, and everyone looks forward to hopefully hearing some new music, whether it be next year or the year after, but I'm sure everyone's excited.
Yes, thank you, Baker. Yeah, fingers crossed we can do it.
Finally, Rick, thank you for coming on once again. It's been a pleasure to chat.
No worries, mate. On third time lucky, sometime.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. When the album, when you've got new music, new single, new album, you've got to come on and get that hat trick.
Yeah, great stuff. Don't push your luck, but yeah, we'll probably do that. Yeah.
Thanks, Rick.